Welcome to our latest edition of the Parent and Family Webinar Series. This is Dining at Brown. I am Mikkel St. Germain. I'm the Director of Parent and Family Engagement here at Brown, and it's my pleasure to welcome all of you parents and families of the class of 2027. We have a great group of colleagues today from the Dining Services Department here. And before we bring them on, I want to go over a few bits of business like we typically do. Right now, we have about 110 people and climbing. We'll let you all get settled while we get started. Just so you know, we have a number of questions that were submitted in advance, and we use that to create this presentation today. However, if you still have questions that have gone unanswered, feel free to use the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen, and we will try to get to as many additional questions at the end of this presentation. If you require closed captioning, there is a button at the bottom of your screen that you can click, and that will provide closed captions for you. This session is being recorded and it will be posted on the Parent and Family website a little bit later this week. It takes us a few days to get that edited and posted, but it'll be right where you registered for the webinars. If you have any questions after this webinar, you can direct them to me at family@brown.edu, and we'll get them to where they need to go, whether it's about dining or something else. And I want to remind you of a few important dates. Coming up on August 30th and 31st, we will have a parent and family welcome. We will have in-person activities for those who do come to campus to drop their new students off for move-in day. However, if you can't make it in person, we will have some virtual options for you. We also want to highlight Family Weekend, which seems like it's a ways away, but it'll be here before you know it. It's October 13th through the 15th this year. And again, we will have virtual options for those unable to attend, but we hope you'll be able to join us here at the Brown University campus in Providence. So now let's get started. It's my great pleasure again to introduce my colleagues from Dining Services. We have with us today Michelle Blaze, who is the Director of Wellness and Nutrition. We have Robert Noyes, who is the Director of Retail Operations, and Andrew Gagan, who is the Assistant Director of Retail and Concessions. I believe, Michelle, you're going to start us off today. So Michelle, please take it away. Thank you.
Perfect. So hi, everyone. My name is Michelle. I'm the Director of Wellness and Nutrition here for Brown Dining. I am a registered dietitian. I don't see the slides on my screen, but oh, there we go. Perfect. Perfect. So we'll get started right away. We'll start with our residential dining. So we can go to the next slide. The residential dining units on campus, there are two options. So we have the Sharp Refectory, which is our largest dining hall on campus. We serve upwards of 4,000 meals a day from the Sharp Refectory. Hours and operational hours you can see on the screen, 7:30 to 7:30, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The Verney Woolley Dining Hall is our other residential dining unit. It is located on Pembroke campus. So depending on where students are living, they might choose one or the other, but of course they're welcome at both. Residential dining halls are unique in that they are all you care to eat, which means that when you go into the dining hall, you swipe, or your student will swipe their card once. They come in, they can have as much or as little as they'd like while they're there. So swipes are the major tender. We will get more into payments and types of meal plans and all of that further into the presentation, but that's a good overview of the residential dining units. They serve everything from your staples, such as, grill items, chicken, burgers, hot dogs, but then we also have really unique items. Our comfort line or our main line options rotate. We have a 5-week menu cycle currently, so we have new items every day for lunch and dinner. We have a harvest line, which is our plant forward station, so it's not completely vegan, but most of, if not all of the items there are plant-based. We also have some specialty platforms coming this fall, which we're really excited about. We'll talk a little bit further into the presentation, but we have an allergy platform, a kosher kitchen, as well as a dedicated halal platform. And then our Verney Woolley Dining Hall, all of the same or similar items. We also have omelets every single day for breakfast. We know students love those in the morning. And I think I covered everything that I wanted to for the residential dining unit, so we can go on to the next slide.
Thanks, Michelle. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to talk a little bit about our operations on the retail side. So we are a little unique at Brown, where we give all students the ability to use their meal plan, their full meal plan, and meal swipes within our retail units. So on the retail side, we are kind of broken into two different divisions. We have our larger facilities that are full service that accept swipes, as I mentioned. On the Pembroke side of campus, we have Andrews Commons, very popular location. It's open 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. We do upwards to 2,500 meals a day out of this location in retail format. We have a walk concept. We have pizza here. We have salads, and we do a lot of creative specials that highlight all different types of cuisines. We have the Ivy Room that's actually located underneath our largest all-you-care-to-eat facility in the Sharp Refectory. We really specialize in smoothies, salads, sandwiches, and other kind of smaller made-to-order platforms. This location's open 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., and we do right around 2,000 transactions per day out of the Ivy Room. And then we round it out with Josiah's, or Joe's, as we call it. That's kind of our classic late night eatery. We operate this location from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. daily. Classic late night meals, burgers, chicken. I do like to point out that Joe's, although it's open late night and known for its kind of late night classic food, we have the largest salad bar on campus here. So we're very proud of that. And again, as I mentioned, these are our full service retail units that serve full meals. Students have the ability to use a meal swipe. Basically how it works is they select whatever they want from a platform. When they go to cash out, they can use their meal swipe as an equivalency towards the purchase. So we have combos in all these units where one meal swipe covers a full meal in a combo. They can also use their points, cash credit at these locations, as well as Bear Bucks. Next slide, please.
Hello there, I'm Andrew Gagan. Welcome. So in addition to the meal plan retail units, we have other units, starting with the Blue Room, open from 8 a.m. till 3 p.m. And this is a very popular location, serving coffee, pastries, made-to-order sandwiches and salads, which makes it very, very popular. It's located at the campus center on Faunt's House, at the top of the main green. Below the Blue Room is the campus market, open from 11 a.m. till 6 p.m. And this is a grab-and-go convenience store, serving sandwiches, salads, coffee, and pastry, and then also serving as a convenience store from toothpaste to Tootsie Rolls, basically. Again, a very popular location. We also have the School of Engineering Cafe, which is the ERC. Again, as coffee, pastries, sandwiches, and salads again. And that's located again in the School of Engineering, open from 8 a.m. till 3 p.m. All these locations take points, Bear Bucks, credit cards, and cash. They don't actually take meal swipes because we don't actually serve full meals in these cafes. So that's left for the other larger retail units. Next slide.
All right, so meal plans. The image that you see to the right of the screen is a snapshot of the different meal plans that we offer at Brown. So first years have a choice between the 20 weekly plan and the Flex 460 plan. Both contain flex points and meal credits on this plan. If you're a second year student, you have a choice of the 20, the Flex 460. You could also get a 14 weekly or a Flex 330. And basically the difference between these is some are heavier on the meals and some are heavier on the flex points. So it's good that your student will have this option to really tailor it towards their needs and their dining preferences. And then third and fourth year, get another choice here. They have a choice of all the above, but then they could also get the Flex 70, which used to be referred to as our off-campus meal plan. So I'm going to go a little bit into the different tenders within our meal plan. a meal credit or swipe, as your student's going to call it. That's how we refer to it. That lets you into any of the all you care to eat facilities. One swipe, all you care to eat at either the Vernon Woolley or the Sharp Refectory. Again, in our full service retail units, Andrews Commons, Josiah's, the Ivy Room, we do allow students to use their meal credits or meal swipes. One swipe entitles them to designated combos within that unit. They can also use a swipe as an equivalency if they're looking to get maybe a meal combo or just a sandwich, but then also some grab and go items to take back for breakfast the next morning or a late night snack. They can use their meal credit towards that purchase, and then they can pay for the balance with their flex points. Flex points are regarded more or less as cash on hand. They're dollar for dollar in value, and they can be used at any of our dining facilities on campus, no matter if it's an all you care to eat or any of our retail units that are full service or the ones that Andrew gave an overview of in the previous slide are everything from grab and go items in our campus market to muffin at the Blue Room can be used. Flex points can be used towards that purchase. And then we have Bear Bucks, which is an additional tender of the university. It's not a dining tender. It's actually managed through our main card office. And this is also a dollar for dollar declining balance, if you will, that a student can have on their Brown ID. Next slide, please.
And I'm going to get into some of the meal plan information and some important dates to keep aware of. So students have the ability to change their meal plan and also view balances for their meal plan on the new My Card portal. This rolled out last fall. So the website is right there, mycard.brown.edu. Students log in with their Brown login credentials. Students have the option to change their meal plan as many times as they want up until August 29th. You can swap between whatever meal plans you like. Once August 29th comes, then you can only make one change between August 29th and September 13th. After the date of September 13th, students are locked into the meal plan that they are assigned. So I highly recommend going into that portal, taking a look at what meal plan you're on. After September 13th, it cannot be changed. And then the meal plan starts on August 30th at dinner time. So I believe students are moving in the 29th, 28th, maybe even before that. And then they have some time to check out the different eateries and see which tenders they might be using more or less. And then they might be able to, and then they'll be able to change their meal plan one time between the time of move-in and the date of September 13th. Next slide. So we have a few things to highlight. In addition to meal plans and dining halls, dining really covers a lot of different areas, not just on campus, but off. And so some of the things that we like to highlight are the sustainability efforts that not only dining partakes in, but the university as well. So one of the, or a few of the ones that I've highlighted here include the reusable container program, which we're really excited to launch fully in the fall. You can see one of our colleagues, Tom, on the bottom photo holding that green container. That green container actually has a QR code on it. So when students come into the dining hall, we're launching this at the Vernon Woolley Dining Hall and the Sharp Refectory Dining Hall, those two all you care to eat facilities. So if students want food to go, they just simply come in, they sign up for the, it's called Reuse Pass, which is the program that we're partnering with. They receive their own QR code and then they scan their QR code on their phone underneath a scanner that's at the cashier, and then they scan their to-go container under that same scanner. Now that to-go container is assigned to that student. All they have to do once they're done using it is come back in, return the container in one of the return bins, and we'll scan it back in for them. And then they can take another to-go container out. It costs nothing to the students. They can take as many containers out as they'd like at a time. We do just need the students to return the containers. Of course, we don't want those to go to waste. And then they'll be able to reuse the containers however many times they like throughout the semester, anytime they get food to go. The next sustainability effort that we'll talk about is red meat reduction, which sounds a little scary when we say it like that, but it's really just encouraging students to think about the foods that they're eating and the effects that they might have on the environment. So the university has a goal to reduce our CO2 emissions by 25% by the year 2025. And one of the ways that we do that is reducing the foods that produce a high amount of CO2. That's not to say that your students never going to eat red meat on campus. We do serve red meat products, but we try and have them in meals that it's not just a slice of roast beef. It would be mixed in with a dish. But we do have locations on campus, such as Josiah's, that you'll still be able to get a burger late night if that's what students are craving. We also have composting across campus. This is really important to the university as well as dining and to the students we found. So in the top photo behind those students, we have our composting bins. That's in the Sharp Refectory. When students are done with their meal, if there's any food left on their plate, they scrape off their plate into compost bins, and then they place their cleaned off plate or scraped off plate in the return bins. We compost all products that are organic and that we're able to compost. And the top photo where we partnered with the Food Recovery Network, which is a group on campus. And we were actually taking a look at food waste and getting students to be aware of, how much food they might be wasting if they're taking 4 or 5 servings. Our eyes are bigger than our stomachs a lot of times. So just getting students to be aware of those types of choices. And then local vendors. We are really proud to partner with a lot of local vendors around campus. Our coffee is locally roasted. Bobby can talk more about that. We partner with New Harvest for all of the coffee on campus. Most of our cheeses are from a local dairy farm as well. So a lot of our foods that we serve, we try and get as local as possible to support. And they're great products, so it's a win-win. Next slide. So I'll talk a little bit about the renovations that we talked about earlier in the residential dining slide. So I mentioned that we are getting the allergy aware kitchen. So construction is currently happening. I think I can hear them outside of my office right now. But so we're building a allergy aware kitchen, which means that the foods won't serve the top 9 allergens. It is open for lunch and dinner every day. We have dedicated equipment in that space. All of the cooking and preparing and everything will be done in that platform. It's separated from the main core of the rest of the platforms, but it's still in the dining hall, and it's open to all students. So it's not like only one student who has a certain amount of allergens can go to that spot. It's open for all students, and it's just going to be really straightforward, simple ingredients. The next platform is our kosher kitchen. So we are building a full kosher kitchen, and it is going to be operating on both sides at the same time. So we have a dairy side and a meat side. Again, open to all students. You don't have to follow a kosher diet in order to dine at that platform. It's just going to be good food that happens to be kosher. And then finally, our dedicated halal platform. So for those of you who don't know, currently all of our fresh chicken that we serve in-house, meaning that all of our raw chicken that comes in is already halal, which means that we have a fair amount of halal options around campus. Currently, most of our chicken dishes, if it doesn't contain alcohol or pork product, as well as all of our vegetarian dishes. But now we have a dedicated platform so students know when they go into the Sharp Refectory, they can always get a halal meal and they don't have to search around for it, and they can go right to that platform. Again, open to all students. You don't have to follow a halal diet. It'll be, again, just good food that happens to be halal. Andrew?
Right, this is very exciting because we are currently having renovations to our Josiah's late night eatery, which means updates to our seating and service area to go along with a new menu concept and new specials. As you can see there, we have smoker stations. So we're going to get a smoker fitted, which is going to be fantastic for the late night crowd. Also, in addition to that, we also purchased a brand new state-of-the-art food truck, which is very exciting again. The Bruno Eats food truck will service the meal plan, support catering operations, and concessions operations at the games, athletic events throughout the campus. So we're on the cutting edge with this one, because food trucks, again, big revival in food truck cuisine. So we're with it, and we can do a lot of things out of that food truck. So again, that's another string to our bow. It's very exciting. And more, when I say more, we are continually planning new concepts, specials, menus throughout dining. So basically watch this space. It's never ending. I think that's next slide, please.
All right, so dining outside of the meal plan. We are a pretty large department here in dining. We're roughly about a 300 person staff at the moment. We do, obviously, in addition to all the our meal plan efforts that we've been speaking about today, we have a pretty large catering division as well. And really, we're involved in anything from orientation to commencement and all the way through. We service a wide variety of events on campus, both for students and general Brown community members. We also operate a faculty club on campus that falls under the dining umbrella. That's a full service event space. It has an a la carte lunch offering and also a lounge and a bar. I mentioned the catering events that we do throughout campus, and Andrew touched on it when he was giving an overview of the food truck. We operate concessions for athletic events on campus, and that's through the retail division. You can actually see in the bottom right-hand side of the screen, that's our mascot Bruno. That was at a football game this past season, and those are that's our marketing communications manager on the right, and that's one of our dining supervisors on the left. So we have a great time supporting those events. They're a lot of fun, and we feel we really complement the athletic events on campus and help strengthen the overall community within Brown. So we're excited to be part of that. Next slide, please.
So we understand that every student is different. We have food allergies, we have religious dietary restrictions, and we have students with medically prescribed diets here on campus. And the usual pathway for a lot of students to eat might not be the same for those students. As I mentioned, I'm the registered dietitian, so I try and meet with as many students as I can early in the semester and get them up to date. I give them tours of different dining halls, get them to understand the options that we have available for them. I am very excited about that allergy aware kitchen, because I do feel like it'll be able to accommodate a lot of our students who have food allergies on campus. And if I didn't mention it earlier, the allergy aware kitchen is also gluten-free, so we will not be serving any foods with gluten from that platform. Other options for students with different dietary restrictions include our allergy-friendly pantry. This is something that a lot of our students currently really enjoy. It's where we keep a lot of our specialty product. There are 2 allergy pantries on campus. We have one in the Verney-Woolley and one in the Sharp Refectory. The one in the Sharp Refectory might be changing a little bit in the upcoming months, just because of the allergy kitchen there. We might not be able, or might not have to, I should say, serve as many products in there. But everything in there has labels, and students are able to take a look. It's not completely allergen-free in the allergy-friendly pantry. However, everything will have labels, so students can take a look and see what fits their needs. And then we have individual accommodations for students who the above options still don't work for them. That's why I meet with those students and talk with them and try and find different avenues that will work for them. And those are highly individualized. I believe that's it. Next. So the next, I just want students to know that they can get to know dining services. One of the big things that we try to encourage is students to get involved and reach out and really get to know dining. So there's a few different avenues for that to happen. We have an undergraduate council of students, or UCS, and that is like the governing body of students on campus, and they work really closely with dining. We also have a specific dining council, or I shouldn't say we. The university has a Dining Council, which is students made up, and their sole goal is to communicate with students and to make changes within dining that students are looking for. One of those photos I have there is of a pickling event, which was a very successful event that I had as a Meet the Dietitian. It was part of National Nutrition Month. So I hosted this table, and students were able to come up, grab a mason jar from the table, pickle their own vegetables, and then we talked a little bit about food and nutrition, and it was a good way to get to know students. I try and do those a couple of times a semester so students know that I exist and that they have access to me, and that it is something that students were able to come to us with whatever they need. We are also really excited to be giving out kitchen tours. So we did it a few times last semester, and I believe it used to be very popular before COVID, but we're reintroducing kitchen tours. We haven't solidified dates or anything, but that will be shared for students. That's what that photo up there at the top is that students were able to sign up and they did tours of the Sharp Refectory. They were able to see the kitchen. They walked through the refrigerators and freezers and loading docks, and they were able to see, you know, where the food that they eat every day, where it comes from and who's preparing it. And then there are also student organizations on campus, such as there's a sustainability organization and then an overall student activities club. There are multiple of organizations that your student might be interested in. And I highly recommend taking a look at some of those student clubs and organizations on campus and seeing if there's one that is interesting. Thank you. Next slide.
All right, so spotlight dinners. This is something that we're really proud of in dining, and this is something that we all really enjoy. Our 300 strong plus staff members, we really get into these events. We put a lot of time and effort into the planning and execution of these throughout the year. So we use these to accomplish a few different things. We like to use them to collaborate with students on campus to highlight their organization, but also we like to do these in units in conjunction with our staff and culinarians to really highlight their culinary skills and background and get them part of the process or spearheading the process of planning these menus, events, everything from decor to obviously the production and execution of the meal itself. We typically feature whether like some kind of entertainment, whether it's live music. We had a DJ at one of our events last year. We had a guest chef that owns a farm and brewery in Tiverton, Rhode Island, bring her food truck and cook traditional Brazilian food. So we have a lot of fun, and they vary from event to event. Some of the pictures that you see on your screen, I'm going to go left to right. I'll start at the bottom. That's Hut Sang. He's our lead culinarian at Andrews Commons, and he spearheaded a Lunar New Year event that we did at the end of January. To the right of him is the Sharp Refectory, our largest, and that was a Latinx event that we did, which was hugely successful and which was a big party and a great time. And then up at top was a picture from the event that I just spoke about, from the farm to table Brazilian food truck event that we held at Andrews Commons. So again, we really were excited about these. This is something that we were able to accomplish last year, and we definitely see bringing back this year as well. So next slide.
And this is just a little way to be in the know. So we have an Instagram account. And so if you're interested in the things that are running and happening at dining, I highly recommend following us. We post a lot about all of those events that Bobby was just talking about, as well as information about just Brown in general. And then if you want a little more information, I believe it's being shared already, but that is our general website, which all of this information and more can be found. So that's dining.brown.edu. Next slide, please. And finally, I just wanted to provide a few key contact information. Some of these were mentioned, some of them they weren't. The top is student accessibility services. Students with food allergies or any other type of medically prescribed diet is recommended to go through student accessibility services. There is a dietitian in athletics, so if your student is an athlete here on campus and they want some guidance, or even want to meet and talk about fueling for games or practices, anything like that, that's the dietitian, Emily. That's her contact information. And then a little bit about just contact information for financial aid, as well as our general dining inbox. If you have specific questions, feel free to email the dining services at brown.edu general box, and then it'll get dispersed to the appropriate person.
And I'd also finish with, we realized we threw a lot of information at you today. There's a link to our website that goes into detail about a lot of the topics that we shared today. So that is in the chat, dining.brown.edu. There's a wealth of information on the website. So I encourage you to check it out if you haven't already.
All right, thank you, everybody. That was great. I am so excited about the food truck and all the new options. And I think I want to go to one of your pickling events, Michelle, but
I'll do it again. It was very nice.
that looks great. So I'm going to let you take a quick second to catch your breath, and then we'll dive into some questions we've gotten in advance. I want to start off with menus a little bit. We've gotten a number of questions that relate to how often are menus cycled through. And also, you talked a little bit about those special events with international cuisines. Can you talk about, how often are they getting things? Like specifically, we had a question about Indian cuisine. How varied are the options that we're giving to students every day?
Sure. So I'll talk a little bit about refectory and Bernie Woolley to start. So we have a 5-week menu cycle currently, which means that we have almost new products every day for lunch and dinner. And this rotates as far as what types of foods we have. So there might very well be Indian foods on, as well as, other types of cuisines. They rotate throughout the week. So we always try and highlight different ones at different days. So everyone's is available. Might not be every day, but every week.
Okay. And I'll send this one, Bobby. Where can students see what's on the menu at any given place on a day?
Yeah, so we definitely link and check out the website. Once they're on there, there's an opportunity to sign up what we refer to as menu mail. And they choose the eatery that they want to receive menus for every day, and it'll be in your inbox overnight while you're sleeping. You'll wake up and you'll get a snapshot of, or not a snapshot, a comprehensive list of everything that each unit, both on the retail side and the residential side, is offering that day, including we advertise our specials and pop-up dinners and spotlight dinners on this as well.
Great, thanks.
And you can also take a look at on the dining.brown.edu, the menu is also located on there.
Yep.
Great, thank you.
With all the opening times for the different eateries also. So it's quite comprehensive. So I do recommend going on that.
Yep, great point.
Great. Andrew, can you talk a little bit? I think you mentioned Tootsie Rolls, but can you talk about other grab and go options and convenience items that people can just pick up?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the Blue Room, it's obviously one of our busiest eateries, and it's basically it's made to order. But if you're in a rush and you want some grab and go items, you can go down to the campus market. We have like a gourmet to go, we call it, where the sandwiches are made fresh from the Blue Room and taken downstairs. So if you can't wait for your made sandwich, you can run down and take a grab and go sandwich, grab and go salad, and they're the same fresh product as we serve in the Blue Room. They also serve coffee down there, and the same for the School of Engineering, where they make their fresh sandwiches. So again, that's all grab and go. So there are a number of places you can get grab and go. So even at Josiah's at nighttime, they have a grab and go selection. So it's kind of everywhere. There's also, for the healthier, there is also fruit kind of everywhere, which is a great addition.
Great, thank you. One of the questions, Michelle, that we're getting quite a bit in the chat is about students who are coming early for either pre-orientation programs or international students who are arriving early, will they have access to the dining halls in advance of the main opening?
I believe it's the Verney Woolley Dining Hall that's going to be open during that time. They won't have access to all of the different dining halls, but they will have access to the select ones that are open. I believe Sharp is finishing up some of those renovations that we talked about, which is one of the reasons why that location's not open.
Great, thank you. So Bobby, one of the questions that we're getting quite a bit, because this is mainly first year families here, is what would you recommend for somebody who's a freshman just coming in, who's a little bit unsure about which plan to choose?
Yep.
You talk about the pros and cons and
Sure. So
more
I'd say we try and we realize that it can be daunting. We try to, well, we have two different options for them. And we try to make it so if you feel that your student or your first year is going to be eating more meals versus things on the go and grab and go and, you know, grazing throughout the day, we'd say the 20 weekly is the best bet because it has the most meals. They roll over every week. Flex 460 is exactly that. It's a little bit more flexible. So you get your meals and they're available to use all throughout the semester. They don't roll over. You get a little bit less meals if you work out the math, but you get a little bit more flex points. So if you feel that maybe you don't require as large portions, or you know your schedule during the day is pretty jam-packed and you're looking for something on the run, maybe the Flex 460 would be better suited for someone in that situation. So those are the two meal plans that are available, and I would say it's really up to the individual, whether they're kind of eating more frequently throughout the day, kind of smaller portions. Then I'd say the Flex 460. If they're eating more the traditional 3 meals a day, you know, larger portions at those meals, I'd say probably the 20 weekly because you receive more meals in that package. But you do get flex points in both. So if you do go the 20 weekly, you can still visit the Blue Room. You can still grab a sandwich at the School of Engineering in between classes. You can still go down to the campus market to load up on supplies. You can still use them for grab and go items at Joe's. You still have that ability.
Okay, yeah, that's what one person put in the chat, that they were assuming that the Flex 460 was more for students who prefer snacking, and then the 20 weekly is more for those traditional 3 meal a day.
Yeah, it could be that. And also I think where we're unique, and this is something that we're really proud of at Brown and in Brown Dining, is that we don't limit the use of meal swipes just to our residential dining eateries. Again, we do accept them at Andrews Commons, at Josiah's, at Ivy Room, so they can use their meal swipes for a meal at that location. They don't have to use just their flex points. They're not limited to just their flex points in those locations. So that helps with variety and everything and what's available to them.
Great. And I'm assuming if people really have questions about their students' eating habits and what works best for them, that they can reach out to you. And
absolutely, yeah. And I think the best route to go there is the general dining _services email. As I mentioned, we do have a pretty large department, and we have a lot of people that specialize, for example, just in meal plan and the ins and outs. So if you message that inbox, someone will get back to you. The best person, the appropriate person, will get back to you with a curated response.
Great, thank you. And if people decide midway through the year, after the fall semester, are they able to make an adjustment between fall and spring?
I believe they're able to make changes mid-semester, but they can't cancel mid-semester.
Okay, thank you.
Or, yeah, mid-year, sorry.
Do you know, one of the questions we're getting is there something that freshmen generally tend towards? Is there sort of a default that freshmen or first year students, whether they're transfer or freshmen, would tend towards? Is there one that's more popular in general for the new students?
Yeah, I'd say probably the Flex 460, again, because it offers a robust amount of meals, but then it also gives a student more flex points. And again, flex points are accepted at the Blue Room, at the School of Engineering, at our grab and go market. So I'd say the the Flex 460 is usually a popular one.
Great, thank you. Michelle, you talked a lot about the various allergy accommodations and all these new great locations that are specifically tailored to those with allergies. But in the general dining halls, are items labeled with allergens?
We don't currently label for top now allergens on all of the items. However, we do use descriptions to, excuse me, try and identify as many allergens as possible. So if something contains dairy, say it's a Parmesan crusted chicken or something like that, it'll say Parmesan crusted chicken. And we try and be as descriptive as possible when labeling all of our items in the dining hall.
Great, thank you. Andrew, can you talk about late night options where people can get late night snacks when they're done studying?
Absolutely, absolutely. We do have quite a large vending operation throughout campus. So there's an option there. But again, the most popular location is Josiah's. We talked about the renovation and the late night. And Bobby mentioned that it does has the largest salad bar on campus. And it's really popular and such a great atmosphere in there. And again, open till 2 a.m. So students can come in and they can get a spicy chicken sandwich, which is the most popular item. They can also get a burger. Then we also have vegetarian options, the Impossible Burgers we serve there. And we also have specials. So we used to do grilled cheeses, quesadillas. So there's quite a variety in there. Also with the grab and go items, with fruit cups, an array of drinks. So that is the most popular late night eatery.
Great, thank you. And for those who haven't visited the campus, we always have Thayer Street, which it's not part of the meal plan, but it offers a lot of late night options in a variety of cuisines. Michelle, could you talk about those special events? Are there still options for gluten-free and vegetarians, even though it might be a special event with a certain cuisine?
Yeah, so most of the time we the meal might naturally be free of gluten containing ingredients. And if students are ever concerned about things in advance, if they see like there's a special event running this Thursday and they want to take a look at recipes or menu items, they can always reach out and we can give them that information in advance, so they can know going in that those options are available.
Thanks. Bobby, one of the parents asked about athletes and we saw that in some of the registration questions too. What's recommended for athletes for a meal plan, and are there specific things that they should know or be aware of in terms of what's available for them?
Yeah, so I think the proximity of the Verney Woolley, which is an all you care to eat facility, that's very close to the athletic, especially the practice facilities. So we tend to see a lot of athletes going there. And again, one swipe, it's all you care to eat. So, and that's one of our largest variety units too. A lot of our retail units, although, our extensive offerings, they're kind of concept driven, but also Andrews is another place that we see a lot of athletes going. Really because the atmosphere in Andrews is kind of upbeat, vibrant. It's kind of like a gathering place, if you will, on the Pembroke side of campus. And again, that's located pretty closely to the athletic facilities on campus. So I'd say those are probably the two most frequented locations. Joe's, obviously late night, Andrew talked about. And then in terms of first year for meal plans, I think either one would really work for an athlete. I mean, the 20 weekly, you're getting more meals. So if there's a calorie target that, they're trying to maintain or hit every day, that might be one for that particular student. And then again, the Flex 460 is just that. It gives them the flexibility to grab breakfast, and a latte, a breakfast sandwich on their way to class at the Blue Room by using their Flex points. And always, Flex points can be added on throughout the semester. If you find that you're using more Flex points throughout the year than what you were given as part of your meal plan, you can add those on at any time very easily through our portal online.
Great, thank you. And Are there always like certain basics that students can always have access to? The person who asked was talking about hot dogs, hamburgers,
Yes.
chicken sandwiches, but I'm also thinking cereal, things
Yep.
like that are the standard college fare.
We
Yeah.
have everything you can imagine in terms of standard offerings, especially in our all you care to eat facilities. As Michelle mentioned too, we have specials and menu rotations on top of those basics and those standards. And then on the retail side, we really use those units to complement our overall offerings and complement our service, where it might be a little bit more concept driven, but then you'll have like, the basic grazing, fruit, chips, items like that, that are located throughout the unit. So yes, a wide variety of extensive basic things that are available every day throughout our service periods.
Great, thank you. Michelle, did you want to add anything on that?
No, that was exactly, that was everything.
Good, good. So one of the questions here I think is pretty interesting, and I'll put it out to all three of you. I'll start with you, Michelle. What's one thing that you wish students were more aware of as they're making their meal choices on campus?
I really encourage students to get involved and to reach out to us and to really know that we are not just, in administration. This is a partnership. We don't exist without them. And I really like to talk to students about, even if they're just looking for, I've had a ton of students come through and give me, say they're looking for more plant-based options, and then they give me specifics of meals that they're looking for. And then I can take that and go to the menu meeting and say, this is what students are looking for. They want these exact items. And then it's a lot easier to incorporate that into the menu, as opposed to, we've had recommendations of, I just want more plant-based options. Okay, what does that look like for you? Or I want healthier options. Okay, what does that look like for you? So I really like to get specifics, because without that, healthy or plant-based or all of those terms can mean something different to every person. So really getting, in-depth recommendations from students so we can, be better for them.
Thank you. That's great. Bobby, anything that comes to mind for you?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is that some of our facilities aren't conducive to preparing or finishing food and menu items in front of the guests. So they're done a little bit more behind the scenes. So with that setup, there tends to be the perception that maybe the food and the quality of ingredients aren't the same at some of our units where we do produce those items in front of the guests, where that couldn't be further from the truth. All of our entire program, we're all buying from the same vendors. We all have a very, very extremely high standard in terms of quality and freshness of food. So it's all coming from those same vendors, and it's all from that same quality, whether it's prepared out in front of them at an action station at Andrews Commons or in our large production kitchen that's below the Sharper Factory. We're all using the same ingredients. It's all produced on campus by our very talented staff and culinarians. It's just some buildings you see it and some buildings you don't. And that's more just because some are conducive to do that style of in-person service out in front.
Yeah, that's a great point. And it really is a great team that's working there at
It is.
Service.
Yeah, very, very talented team of chefs and culinarians that we have.
Yeah, I'd like to echo Bobby's comments there, that for everyone to understand that we're mainly a fresh food kitchens, which means most of the food is made on site, sources, and it's great to share that information because obviously a lot of people think, where does my food come from? And in addition to that, something that I think we missed was that we actually have our own bakery. So we have our the bakers start at 2 a.m. and you finish early in the morning, and everything on campus is most things on campus are baked in our bakery. So I encourage the students to at least try it.
Yes, absolutely. The baked goods and then the salads to balance it out, right? But yeah, excellent baked goods here as well at Brown. Michelle, can you talk about organic options? How is there an emphasis on organic when you're sourcing products?
We don't purchase primarily organic produce, namely the cost, unfortunately, of organic produce for 5,000 plus students on meal plan just would not be conducive to being able to produce the amount of food that we need to have. However, like I said, we try and get local when possible. Of course, living in New England, there's only so many months a year that you can get local berries or anything else, but we do source high quality produce. So even if it's not organic, it's still high quality.
Yep.
Thank you. Go ahead, Bobby.
I was just gonna say, yeah, an example of that is, again, being in the New England growing region has its challenges in the colder months, but we do things like partner with greenhouses. So our lettuce is distributed by Little Leaf Farms, if anyone's familiar with that. So they're out of central to western Mass, so pretty close by, local-ish for Providence, Rhode Island, but we're able to access that product year-round. So we try to find and forge partnerships like that to bridge the gap when we don't have outdoor grown local produce available to us.
Thank you. We've had a few questions about carrying over meal swipes. Can you talk about how that works?
Sure. So the 20 weekly plan, they roll over every Sunday. So you're allotted 20 meals a week and you get a fresh set every week. The Flex 460, another benefit of this is you're allotted all your meal swipes up front, and they actually do roll over from semester to semester, the contents of that plan.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Let's see. Here's one. If I'm on the 20 meals plan and eat at the 2 dining halls, it's assuming, would I need to use flex points unless I exceeded the 20 meals within 1 week?
Yep, that's one thing. So again, we accept swipes at the majority of our units, but there are units that we don't accept swipes. So in that case, you would use the allotted flex points at places like the Blue Room, Campus Market, the School of Engineering Cafe. But if you are thinking you're primarily going to eat in our all you care to eat locations or our retail units that accept meal swipes, then probably the 20 weekly plan would be better for you because you're getting more meals a week on average than you would get in your Flex 460. Your Flex 460, you would get a higher percentage of your meal plan would be made up of flex points.
Great. And I'm going to put in the chat the webpage with all the information
Yep.
For the various meal plans and the costs. So folks can take a look at that. That outlines all the costs for the various plans very clearly, I think. But if you have questions, please
Yep.
follow up with the dining folks here. Andrew, we had a question about outside food trucks, since you were talking about food trucks. Do we have external food trucks that come to campus ever?
We do, because our need for our athletic events is so large. Our one food truck probably wouldn't be able to accommodate it. So we do have a relationship with the Food Trucks of Rhode Island, which we can bring an array of different cuisines onto campus, which has been working out very, very well. I think they did it, was it Family Weekend they did it? We had a block party. I think we had 10 food trucks.
Yep.
So yeah, so that's available to us. And it worked out very, very well. So yes.
Great.
Do you want to add, Bobby?
No, I think you nailed it. Again, a lot of the spotlight dinners that we do too, we've included some of our outside food truck partners in those as well.
Great, thank you. And we have a lot of questions about specific situations with different flex points and meal plans. I don't want to get too far in the weeds with that, so I would refer everybody to contact the dining office if you really want to get into detail about your specific students' questions. To that point, what's the last day? I think it was up on one of the slides, but maybe can you talk about the last day that students have to confirm their meal plans so they have some time to really think about this?
Sure. So if students don't log into the portal at all, I believe they're assigned the 20 weekly plan. I think that's the default. And if they don't make any changes, then that's the meal plan that they're on. It's not like they wouldn't be assigned a meal plan. The last day to make changes or make any changes to the meal plan account is September 13th. Between the dates of August 29th and September 13th, students can make one change to their meal plan. So say they get to campus and they were on the 20 weekly and they realize, oh, I'm actually going to be using more points, or, you know, however, as Bobby had outlined the different reasons why students choose different meal plans. Maybe if they want to make a change, they can change once within that time. However, between now and August 29th, they can change as many times as they'd like. If they talk to someone and maybe they talk to someone who's a second or a third year student and they're like, no, you should really be on this meal plan, they can change. And if they change their mind again, they can switch back. But once August 29th comes, then they can only make one change between then and September 13th. After September 13th, they are locked into whatever meal plan they're on.
Yeah, and I would suggest that anybody who gets to campus and they're still really unsure, they talk to the staff in the residence halls who are all upperclassmen who can help guide them and have a lot of experience with eating on campus.
Yep.
Yes.
Question, is the meal plan required?
Yes, meal plan is required for first and second year students. Third and fourth year students, it is not required and above. It's not.
Thank you. We've also had some folks with specific menu item suggestions. So
Send them
we got
along.
those.
I'll put them on.
Yep.
We'll take note of those and send those back to the chefs. And somebody's saying that they're pretty sure their students going to eat a lot better at Brown than they do at home. So we hope to fulfill that. And I think we're pretty close to the end. I'll give you a chance if there's anything else we've missed. Michelle, any final words for the folks coming to campus?
No, I mean, if you have students who have food allergies or any specific dietary restrictions, you can feel free to reach out to the general dining inbox and they'll forward it along to me. And like I said, I do like to meet with those students when they come to campus, just to make sure that they are well in the know of how we do things here, and give them a good little tour of our dining facility, as well as our new platforms. So that's the last thing for me.
Great, thank you. How about you, Andrew?
I'd just say we're quite excited to welcome the new students. We have a lot of exciting things going on, from food trucks to allergens, kitchens to it's a very exciting time to be at Brown.
Great, thank you. And Bobby?
Yeah, I'd say, you know, from an operations standpoint, advice that I give is to your first year is don't get overwhelmed. There are a lot of choices. We have a lot of variety, a lot of offerings. There's a little FOMO sometimes associated, like you miss something, believe me, it'll come back. All our menus are cyclical. We do specials throughout the year. If you miss it that day, trust me, that menu item or that special will be back in the future. And also the beginning of the term, because first years are still learning their way and navigating through the entire campus, not just our dining facilities. Sometimes lines and bottleneck occurs, and it might take a little bit longer at a certain eatery or station to go through. That's not the case. That's not long-standing. That's usually just the first couple of weeks. Everyone kind of settles in after that. Things settle down a little bit, and people find their way and their favorite area on campus and their favorite time of day to visit a location. And you know, things kind of just settle in and go to course.
Great, thank you.